So, after the success of the first series, we're back at Delamere Forest. We're back meeting Carl Morris today with some more absolutely fantastic golf psychology advice. Remember, all of these golf psychologies are sponsored by Caddie, where you can get advice from Carl 24/7 on the app. Right, in today's video, again, this is something that I would never have considered doing before until we started to, obviously work together a little bit. And that is the importance of keeping a journal. Now, people can do this on the Caddie app, can't they? There's a facility in there to do it. I've actually just bought myself a really nice little notepad because I wanted to actually physically write it down. I don't know why, it just felt like by doing that physically, it was just burning into my mentality a bit more. So you told me to write down my, anything sort of positive swing-wise on that day, 3 best shots. I actually tend to write down a little bit more than that. And I've been very surprised at what a positive experience this has been, especially when you find yourself on that hole where you've written down that great shot you hit. It does. It really does. Why is a journal so important? And give us some examples of some of the pros that you've worked with. I know Paul McGinley's a big he mentions it a lot.
Most of the top players are, Craig. I would say for anybody watching this, if there was one experiment I would conduct for your golf, it would be to get a journal and just make a commitment for a month just to start with of keeping a journal.
So I'm delighted to say that the Scratch at 50 Psychology channel has partnered with Caddie. Caddie is an app that gives you access to one of the world's leading golf psychology coaches who's worked with 6 major champions and hundreds of PGA Tour, DP World Tour players from all over the world. Watch this video to the end where you can get a special offer to get access to Caddie today.
Why is that? Well, is the way our brain is wired, it's an evolutionary thing. We are hardwired to focus more on the bad than the good.
Yes.
We will, in any area of life, we'll tend to remember, you can have a lovely day and people are nice to you, and then you get one person who says something not so good and you remember that.
Yeah.
We go on a golf course, you can sit in the bar and hear the stories, I shot 69, but, the 3 put on 17 or whatever. So, there was a neuroscientist who gave me a great image on this, and he said our brain, if you think of Teflon and Velcro, he said the good stuff that we do tends to slip away like food on a Teflon pan. He said the bad stuff we tend to hold on to it like Velcro. He said unless you do something about it. And doing something about it is when, and you've said it there, I definitely would recommend getting a physical journal. On the Caddie app, you can get the explanations about why to do it, but get a physical journal, and in that physical journal, when you write down the good shot, and don't only just write down the good shot, write down maybe some of the ingredients of the shot. What were you seeing? What were you feeling? Things like that. Because what you'll start to see with then, you'll build up a picture of your recipes. Start to understand yourself. But as you say, when you write down the good shots, that massively increases the memory retention on that. So you get on that 10th hole or whatever, and your brain is actually recalling the good stuff as opposed to the bad stuff.
I think that it's almost as simple as that. Before starting a journal, I'd never remember the good stuff. I just take that for granted, as if that's what I expected to do. But those 3 really bad shots that cost you'd be dwelling on those. Whereas by actually physically writing down all these positive things,
you retain it.
You're retaining it, and it's so important in golf, that, isn't it? Because
and I would say beyond that, I would say everybody who's interested in playing better golf, there's one quest that you need to go on, and that is that there's one person that you need to understand, and that's yourself. Now, lessons are important and having a good coach and all the rest of it, but ultimately it's you that hits the shots. It's you that's got to get the job done. And a journal, if nothing else, to me, what you start to understand is what makes you tick. What are the things that work for you? Success leaves a trail behind, but we don't look for it.
No.
you know, we'll play a decent round of golf and we'll get in and we'll tend to dwell on that bad shot, that bad putt or whatever. Whereas with the journal, you're looking back on your moments of excellence.
Yeah.
What were the ingredients of that?
Yeah.
So you start to build those pictures up then.
Yeah. No, I've been really, really surprised. I must admit, you know, you really encouraged me to do it. When I started doing it, I didn't really think it was going to make that much of a difference, but I've been really, really surprised.
There's like a leap of faith that you need to have with it, really, because we all want instant fixes.
Yeah.
And a journal's not an instant fix.
No.
You've got to just be in there for, as I say, at least a month.
You've got to commit to it.
You've got to commit to it.
Yeah.
You know, if you write your 3 good shots down a couple of times, it's going to make no difference whatsoever.
No.
But literally, if you stick at it over a month, you'll start to notice the wiring of your brain's changing in the sense that you're remembering more of the good, as opposed to being hardwired to remember the bad stuff.
Yeah, and I also write down, you know, how I was feeling.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
You know, in those moments where the game just felt really easy and I was felt totally in control of my golf ball.
Yeah.
You know, I'd just write a little paragraph about that as well. It's just reinforcing positivity as much as possible, rather than before, where, as you said, it's a great way of looking at it, is the good stuff does just slip away like Teflon, and we Velcro the bad stuff.
It's literally the Teflon effect. I think the other thing as well, when you've played a round of golf, if it's not been a good day, doing your journal and writing the good shots, it doesn't make a bad day a good day, but it puts some closure on it.
But also, you know, yeah, you're right. You know, obviously you're going to have bad days with golf. That's part of it. And you'll write down, and obviously there won't be as many positive stuff that day. But then if you just flick back a few pages and read something from 3 weeks ago, all of a sudden you can go, you know what? I can do this.
But even on the bad days, you know, if you've been out there, and as everybody's going to have bad days, but if you can look back on that round and you think to yourself, you know what, I didn't play great, but I hung in there, I had a good attitude to it, I dealt with the bad shots well. That's brilliant to actually look at that and get a different perspective on it, rather than just sitting there thinking, oh, that was dreadful. Every single day on a golf course is an opportunity. There'll be something that you'll have done well. But then when you've had a good day, my goodness, you've been out there and you've had a good day on the course and you write the good stuff down. That's massively reinforcing the memory of that. I call it, there's a number of players that talk about everybody wants confidence. Well, what's confidence made up of? It's made up of past experience. And every time you write in your journal, you're depositing into the confidence account. If you don't put anything in the account, it doesn't accrue in any value.
I remember actually on one of my journal entries on a bad round of golf, is I actually wrote down how proud I was that I never gave up.
Yes.
You know, and it's again, that is turning a bad day into some kind of positive. You know, there's always something positive you can take out of it.
And I think when you've had those bad days where you just stay there and you literally, that phrase,
grind it out.
You stay in the game.
You
know, I think when what you do, again, this is important because in a bigger scheme of things, if you can get something out of the bad days, you're actually, with your brain, this is so important, you're reducing the perception of threat. This is such an important concept. If our brain starts to perceive golf as a threat, i.e. this is going to make me miserable, our brain eventually starts to fear golf. And if we fear golf, then obviously that's going to affect our golf swing. So, you know, for most folk watching this, you know, the reality of it is our golf swing doesn't change that much from day to day in terms of mechanics.
No.
What changes is our access to the skills that we've got.
So true.
And if our access to the skills is not there because we're perceiving danger and threat, loads of golf lessons isn't going to change that.
No.
That's why classically most people hit it better on the range than they do on the golf course. The range, there's no threat. There's always another one waiting for you.
And why everyone hits their provisional ball well.
Because the worst that could happen's got out the way.
That's right.
You know, so I think this whole thing about, to me, it's just a fabulous sort of experiment to do with yourself, really. And you're a perfect example. You've not just listened to this and done nothing. You've took action with it. And started to get some benefit.
No, absolutely. And you know, I think the key to it is you need a sustained period of time before you'll start to see some sort of benefits from it. Like you say, just doing it a few times. You've got to, at the end of every round, it's become part of my routine after the round now. I finish my round, I go and have a bite to eat and a few drinks with my playing partners. I get home and I immediately, while it's all fresh in my mind, write a full page in my journal of, you know, how the round went, how I was feeling, and then, you know, my 3 best shots from the day. Sometimes, you know, sometimes there's more than 3 good shots.
Yeah, and you write them down. But I think on the good days, when you've had a lot of good shots, you've got to sit there and sift through all the good shots to come up with the 3 best ones. So again, that's good, because you're rehearsing, you're reviewing, and you're rehearsing at the same time. I'd say, you know, it's a broad statement, it's a big statement to make this, but all the players I've worked with who've been successful, they've been journal takers or journal makers. Yeah, you know, there's famous stories about.
Did you have to convince them to do this, or did they all buy into it?
They all bought into it, and they realised after a while, you know, I mean, obviously as a tournament professional, there's a lot of time in hotel rooms and things like that, and you know, and how do you fill that time? And just getting into the habit of journaling. You know, the research is so strong on this, not just for golf but for life. You know, there's a chap called James Pennebaker who spent his life researching this, and there's so many benefits from writing in a journal, because you're actually getting your thoughts out on paper. It's you know, we just sit and think stuff all the time, but when you actually physically write it, that good old-fashioned thing, writing on a piece of paper or in a book, it's a really powerful thing to do.
Yeah, no, it is. So yeah, everyone watching this video, I could not. Well, if there's one thing I would say to take away from all of these, and there's some great advice across this whole series, but writing down a journal is definitely one of the ones that I think you should absolutely 100% do. Like I said, I was a little bit skeptical when I started. Carl just, you know, convinced me to start to do it, but I have seen a huge difference in just placing those positive thoughts and retaining those positive thoughts by going through the process of actually writing them down. Hope you enjoyed that episode of the Golf Psychology Sessions. If you want to get continued advice from Carl, you can subscribe to the Mind Caddie app. Go into the description of this video for a special offer as a viewer or subscriber of the Scratch at 50 Psychology channel.